Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Podcast. This is the back of the bus session.
We are in. Hello and welcome to the Old Farm Bus, back of the bus sessions. We're back, baby, we're back. I'm taking on guests again. What I did, I was just explaining to the guest. I won't say the guest name yet. Never say the guest name yet. We need the big round of applause first. But what I did, I took on loads of people at once. When I wanted to do podcasts, I was like, right, does anybody fancy it? Thinking I'll get like 4 people and then start having to reach out. But I got an amazing response. I love all of you that's been on the podcast. You're amazing people. But now I've got to the end of that line and I'm taking on guests again, and I feel so good for it. So thank you for that. Peace and love, all of y'all. What a great way to start a podcast, though, and what a great guest to have coming back on for the Old Farm Bus sessions. I've got the executive director. I think you are the executive director of Bambis Den. Yeah. That's a big thing. I just wanted to make you feel really special.
I'm not even sure if I'm ready for that title yet, but all right, I'm going to own that.
But Bambis Den, I've wrote something about it. This is what my interpretation is. It's an ethical, sustainable fashion brand, customising pre-loved clothing and sourcing second-hand ethical fabrics to create one-off fashion.
You nailed it.
I don't need this round of applause. No. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I've got Leren from Bambis Den. Whoa! Yeah! What I've got in post-edit, I've got little crowd noise that I can put in, and it's epic.
Oh, brilliant.
It's not cheesy or anything.
You pronounced my name wrong as well, by the way.
Leren.
It's an E, not an
O. Mikey Mark, I'm always on this.
Yeah.
So spell it out.
Leren.
L-E-R.
It's literally pronounced as it's spelled.
Leren. Because I keep doing it like I'm from France. Like Leren. And then I ask you, have you got any French in you? Like, no. Some Scottish. What else have you got in you?
Irish.
Scottish, Irish and...
American. Yeah. Got some like American bloodline in there somewhere. From my granny's side.
Have you had like all your DNA's done and everything?
No, but I've seen the family tree and it's pretty epic.
Who did the family tree?
My granny.
Just took some time out.
My granny's like cousins on like that side of the family. It's a really big thing. Like it's taken very seriously.
Okay.
And there's like a book and it just keeps getting fatter and fatter.
I love it.
So you can go back like way in time and it's like, yeah, it's pretty interesting really. I really I enjoy reading it.
Did you go and speak to her on how you actually find out about your family history and stuff? How does she discover it all? Is it internet or does she go...
No, so Bambis on Hill,
yeah.
you can look for like I don't want to say ancestors. Are they ancestors? Yeah, we'll go for it.
They're from the past.
They're from the past. So Bambis on Hill Church, near Castle Donington.
Just bring the... Bless you, there we are.
Bambis on Hill Church, where Castle Donington is. I think like my great uncles and stuff were like parishes of the church, but then we've also got our own family church, which is the Isley Walton. So you can literally go online and search like the Shields and the Gillises. I mean, I don't use those fancy names.
Yeah.
My little brother got lumbered with Gillis as his middle name.
Okay.
Don't think he's ever forgiven my mum, although I think he rocks it now and owns it. But yeah, that's how we've always known. So
I just love you as a person, because like when you do a podcast, you're like, right, go down this angle, you're into sustainable fashion, spirituality, and then suddenly we're like down the realm of ancestors and lines.
Lines.
How did you get into like fashion to start you off with? Because like I was... When I had you on, we had you on this bus and they're having a party. Was it Illuminati?
It was Illuminati. Yeah,
gig.
It's Elmo's birthday.
And you were talking to my partner Chrissy at the time, and I felt like I'd interrupted like this amazing conversation.
Oh, when you just came like,
I just came bashing in. I was like, "What are you guys on with?" And you were like really in depth with, because she's really into fashion as well. So what took you into fashion world, and what made you want to go down that?
I always loved styling. And being playful with my clothes.
Okay.
And then probably when I was about 17, 18, I kind of realised that I had a love of vintage fashion, and that's when like my thrifting started.
Is that an American term, thrifting? Because I only know it from that song.
Because we're like,
I'm gonna put some tears on it. Is it Macklemore?
Yeah, I know it's a bad reference. That is. We'll go there. I'm not sure. I've always just said thrifting.
Yeah.
I think it's now a global term. Yeah, thrifting. But thrifting can be anything. I thrift when I'm like, I'm ruthless. If I see a skip, I will look in that skip.
Really?
Yes, I love it.
I love that.
Love it. I'm like, oh, yellow skip, bring it on.
Interesting. Like what me and my mates used to. I lived in Australia for a bit, and we used to go. I think it was called dumpster diving.
Oh yeah.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
And we used to but the things they throw away from
It's
like
ridiculous.
for food.
Yeah.
Oh my! We used to take a black bin bag, fill it, and take it back to the hostel, and everyone would eat for the night, and we'd have a little party and have a little throw out. Like, why don't they do that though? Like,
Tesco and Starbucks used to be notorious for that. If you used to be able to go to Starbucks, I've not done this. I'm not against it. Knock yourself out. If the seal's not broken and it's still in date, go for it. But yeah, Starbucks used to be notorious for it, where you could go at the end of the day and there would just be endless sandwiches and cakes, and it's like, why don't you just give it away? If you're going to chuck it away, why don't you just give it away? That's what gnaws me with food wastage.
Is it to do with like the legality and rules of like if somebody gets ill off that, then they can sue them? And
absolutely. But it's a sandwich. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah, you've got to change and play with these rules, haven't you?
But I think like supermarkets have become really good now at donating foods.
Okay.
And
are there some better than others, or?
I think Tesco might be a good one. I'm not sure. I actually try and avoid. The only big supermarket that I shop in is Sainsbury's. I'm an Aldi girl. I am an Aldi girl.
We're Aldi all the way as well.
But there is just certain things that Aldi don't do. So they don't do vegan mayonnaise. So I have to go to Sainsbury's. But then if you catch Aldi on a special buy week and they've got like Hellmann's in, then I'm stocking up on like 6 of them.
All day long.
All day long. I love those special buy finds. Sometimes I feel like I should write to Aldi and be like, for the vegans of the world, like you could actually take the supermarkets by storm if you just bring more in. Like they've got oat milk now, which is great. Aldi do oat milk.
I'm so glad I've got you in. You're just so full of beans and zazz and life. Like I remember that specifically at the party, I kept coming over, and anywhere you were talking to people about anything and everything, but with such charisma and
don't stop,
energy.
Honestly,
it's just great. You could go down any path, couldn't you? Yeah. But like as a kid, were you always like really passionate about the environment and the planet and the world we lived on?
As a kid, I wouldn't say I was passionate in terms of understanding what needed to be changed. I always loved nature growing up. I was always out on my BMX. I used to I probably wouldn't do it now because it's not fair on them, but I was that bin lid kid in an Arsenal football kit that used to come home with frogs, newts. I always had dirty nails, scrapes on my knees. Like, I loved being outside and always appreciated the outdoors. You know, if I wasn't up a tree, I was definitely trying to climb one.
Were you in Derby at this point?
Yeah. I've always been in Derby. Derby born and bred, mate. Hey up me duck. But yeah, it was more like, I guess, when I had my daughter and I'd more like go out on more walks, and then really understanding that it's our greatest healer. Like we need nature to heal. I strongly believe that. And then starting to understand like what we were saying earlier about humans being the virus and how much we take it for granted. Like we do take nature for granted. And then started looking more into what I can do as an individual to help the planet, and what message I can relay to people to help the planet as well.
Would your mum and dad be taking you out then for the day in nature? Oh no, so you had to go and discover it for yourself.
No, but my granny.
My both granny. Nan kids then, are we?
Oh God, my granny used to take us for picnics under willow trees in the snow.
Okay.
She was just like, right, kids, get out, get your scarf on, put your hat on. So, yeah.
So what age then did you get to this point, like, we're killing the planet, we're slowly getting to this point
Mid-20s.
Yeah?
So I'm 30 now. So yeah, mid-20s.
What was it? Was it conversations you're having at the time?
Conversations.
Was it books you were reading?
Definitely conversations.
Yeah.
David Attenborough, obviously.
Oh, mate.
We'll listen to a bit of David Attenborough.
The God.
The God. If he doesn't make you question things, then like you're not listening to him properly.
What was it you were listening to of David Attenborough?
I can't even remember, to be honest. Just stuff. He's got so many shows out. You can watch him on YouTube all day. For me, I remember a really important moment. I was out on a walk and I remember seeing the amount of rubbish on the floor, and I can't stand that when you're on a lovely walk and you just see a random Coca-Cola bottle, and it's just like, why?
I tell you what, like, what's quite funny, I never really got on so well with my mum. Like, we just had a bit of a tempestuous relationship, a lot of ferocious words been said, but the one thing I've always loved her on is she's got that fiery side. She's a very powerful lady, and that's cool. And I remember vividly,
I think we spoke about your mum
really
on the night, and I asked her what star sign she was.
Oh God, what is she?
And I can't remember what you said.
She I think it is a fire one, or she's like January, February. I think her birthday's in February, so do you know what that means?
She would be if it's February, she might be an Aquarius.
Oh, mate, the other one then.
Well, Aquarius are air signs, but very, very logical.
I might have got a birthday complete. That might be my dad's though. Just this is why she hates me now. I'm joking.
But I do remember asking you I was like, what's your mum's star sign?
But I remember, so all my life, she's just powerful lady, that amazing woman, got what she wanted and just ran with it. But like, we went to McDonald's once, and I remember these like boy racers were sat near the side, and they just chucked stuff out, and I was like begging her not to go out and tell them off, but she was like, no, I'm going out. And she got the stuff, grabbed the cups, grabbed all the litter and just threw it in the car and just said, get that in the bin now.
Oh, she's
and
like kind of woman she is.
She's amazing. And then I get her now. I'm 27, so I've sort of got to that age where you're like, oh, that's what you were doing, is it? That's the path you're on. Again, nobody's path's perfect, is it? And we all got like our own learning to do, so she was just doing that. But I did love that about her, and ever since like we were out and about and people littered, she just like turned into the litter police. And I love it now, because me and Chrissy were walking back with the dogs the other day, and people were just fly tipping over the fence, and it really kind of hit me. I was like, what are they doing that for? And they were just throwing everything over, clothes, just keep shouting. And I just went over like, and I followed up with my mum, and I was like, stop doing that. Just went shouting.
Not as ruthless, not climbing over the fence and throwing it back to them.
Lobbing it on them. But yeah, it's literally things as small as that though. Just, you don't care much about yourself, in my view, if you're willing to just throw it over there, like litter in your car,
100%,
throw it out.
100%. I think it says a lot about where a person is.
You as a character.
Character and where they're at in life.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine, like, if I'm on a walk and I can pick something up, then I will just. Because you just don't. Animals are out there, birds are out there, dog walkers are out there. And it doesn't look nice. Like you go on a walk in nature because you want to escape, and then you see generic Stella cans or bloody Coca-Cola bottles or just anything, a crisp wrapper, and it's like, why?
We've done festivals down here, and I think when I was probably 21 and I was just like finding myself, because I had a big breakup, we can get into that later as well, with the spiritual side.
Right, okay.
But I love the spiritual side, it's all I'm about. I can tell. So I remember the festival, but I started aligning myself with more spiritually minded people, but also within that there's still spiritually fake people, so they've got all the gear on and they look the part, but they don't maybe live and breathe the ethos or show it. So again, they'd just be throwing their fag butts out or their wrappers and around the farm. It's like, no, but we literally have like chickens that are going to go and eat them fag butts and like choke on it and stuff, and you go and explain that to them, and then halfway down the road you just see them just keep on doing it.
And
it's like, but the things that you preach about, the things you talk about and you see in your circles, and then they're literally like a walking contradiction when they do it. And people really need to start practicing
what they preach.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%. That's a massive thing of mine.
When you asked me last night about sending me some things that you're passionate about, and I said I think I wrote spirituality, but I also wrote false positivity.
Yeah,
and I
didn't know what that meant. I had to read it up.
I think that falls under that of like the falseness with spirituality, but then bringing in the false positivity with it as well, because for me, if I'm seeing someone, you know, preaching about spirituality and we are all one and the universe is children, but then you don't give a fuck about putting your fag books on the floor, I'm looking at you like, mate, you're a dick.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, this is on a slightly different level, but I listened to a podcast by this guy called Andy Frisella, who used to be homeless, but then he's like a multi-millionaire now. He started up loads of enterprises and businesses and just did really well. But he said something as simple as, if you go and piss on a seat when you go to the bathroom and you don't wipe it up, that literally shows you a lot about you as a person, how like lazy you are. If you can't literally wipe your piss off the seat when you've used it and you're just leaving it there for the next person, you will not be successful in life. You will not open up businesses because you'll cut corners and you're lazy. And that, to me, I was like,
it's as simple as when you
start wiping up the seat.
You know, I love her for this, Raina Duffy. I absolutely love. If you ever watch her stories, she's ruthless. And one thing that she hates, and it really does make sense, is when people put their feet on buses.
Yeah,
so if you're sat down and you see, glitch, babes. Got glitch.
That's what we like about this podcast.
I'm a bit naturally clumsy at
Anything
times.
can happen.
I've got long legs, and like, you know, you sit down and see people with their feet on the bus. It's like, I don't know where your feet have been, and people have got to sit down on that seat.
100%.
And you know, sometimes if you're on a long journey, it is uncomfortable. And you do want to put your feet up. I'm like, at least take your shoes off.
Yeah.
But if you're just on a bus and it goes again back with the like pissing on the seat, someone's got to sit down on that.
Yeah.
But I love Raina for that. She's
calling people out and letting them know.
She don't give a fuck.
I've definitely had it at times, and it's just having common curiosity and like caring like about other people though. Like for me, I've been on buses and when they're playing loud music, do you know, people, and it's just like, there's people around, you know, like, why don't you care about what anybody else thinks? And I think there's an attitude where you can have, I don't care what people think, which is good, because you can be your own person and you stop like conforming to the norms of what society is. But then there's a complete dismissal of, I don't care what anybody thinks, and just being a dickhead. And you can't break that golden rule of don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. You know, be who you want to be. Just don't be a dick.
And that to me was the spiritual path that took me years and years to get back round to, because I was like speaking the jargon like you were saying before and quoting philosophers from the past and knowing it all. I was retaining it all, but I was doing like what they do in education and school. I was just regurgitating it and just speaking, like falsely speaking it. So when you put that down, I had to research what is it? False positivity.
False positivity.
It's great. I read about it and I was like, that's so me, like what I used to be about. But then when it come back round to like, no, be you, be that version of you, but just with that spiritual soul or spiritual mindset where you just listening to what other people are about and a bit more balanced in life. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
It's a lot of the time just not regurgitating.
I think it's with the spiritual journey though as well, and this is very much something.
Courtesy is the word I wanted, not curiosity. Courtesy. Common courtesy.
But common curiosity, I like that though.
I'm going to start using it.
I feel like we should.
Yeah, we've just made something.
We've just made it. Common curiosity, guys, on the spiritual path of life. But it's not linear. It's not linear, and it's to be honest, the spiritual journey for me, it can be a massive head fuck in so many ways, because you're constantly learning and unlearning and then learning and unlearning. But that's the beauty of it. So there's times where, like, you know, especially with like myself, where I'm unlearning habits that I've created for myself, or, you know, negative thought patterns that I've lived on, with autopilot, because we're all capable of doing that, or, trauma responses, or, just anything. And then you like have to sit there and do your shadow work, and it's painful. And no one likes to talk about that side of it. It is actually incredibly painful, but so rewarding and so important. And there's so many times where I'm sat with myself and I'm like, oh my God, I really don't like this version of myself right now. I'm not enjoying this, but I know I need to just keep working through it, chipping away, and I'm okay with that. And I think it's what you were saying, like I'm not being a dick, and I'm okay with that. So
I think Karina, that came on one of the last podcasts as well, she said something really beautiful. She said, let it add, don't become. Like, so spirituality should add something to your life and take the pieces away from it. But some people like think, oh, I've gone down this route, I have to become all of this now. And it's like, no, keep them other good sides and good qualities to you. Just like lose the bits that were bringing you and other people down.
Because that's the thing, like, again, with like the spirituality thing, it's this whole good vibes only. And I can easily say, like, my spiritual journey started when I went through depression.
Okay.
And it was just, I was in this, I've always been a very optimistic person, but during that I was the most pessimistic version of myself, and I hated it. Like, I was just like, I do not like this person.
When did it begin, that depression?
Probably when I was about 24 it started to like set in.
Had you ever experienced it before? Literally?
No.
So you were like a happy-go-lucky kid?
Yeah, and then 25 rolled around and I was just like, there was this year, and then 26 came around, and I realised that for like 2 years I was just like going from like up here to all the way down to rock bottom. But I'm so grateful for that place, like I needed to be there. And now I'm like up here, but I'm a bit like this, and I'm alright with it because it's not linear, and you can't always be up here because it's false positivity, and it's you've got to honour your negative thoughts, and you've got to honour that shadow self, and you've got to work with that self so you can grow.
And simple thing of like, the only times you get like you feel up here is because them times exist, the low times exist, but they give breath to the good times.
Exactly.
And that duality of life always comes around. I do remember like having to fake it when I was like feeling down, but then it'd just end up repressing, and it'd just be a pain that I keep walking on top of. But when I'd speak to like a truly good friend of mine, like somebody like Jagger, my best mate, and I'm actually like, do you know what, I don't feel good today, I'm actually feeling discomfort, it was just like a massive weight was lifted. I was like, oh, I don't have to pretend to be this big spiritual guru figure that never feels anything other than greatness or this like enlightenment. I'm still Mikey that grew up in Ripley and has all these complications, because we're comparing ourselves to the Buddha or to the Dalai Lama, and it's like, well, mate, he doesn't live in the middle of Ripley, like with all these gossip circles and stuff going on.
Doesn't live on a farm.
He has got a very different lifestyle, and we've got to appreciate that. Then we're looking at like Buddhist monks in temples meditating 8 or 9 hours a day, probably more. We can definitely take great principles away and great messages that they're giving us and saying like, life isn't as real as you're making it and whatnot, but we have to relate it to where our surroundings are and who our friends are and things like that, or you become quite disconnected.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was there a moment when you fell to depression then? Was it a big... something happened, or did it just come?
It was a build-up of a lot of trauma that I think I suppressed and never actually.
You don't have to. You can go as deep as you want into this.
It's just a lot of childhood trauma. A lot of it that I suppressed, and kind of just lived on autopilot, you could say, and it was just like, no, I'm fine. But I wasn't. I just wasn't okay, and I never wanted to admit that, and I never wanted anyone to see that. I never used to. I wouldn't even take help. Like, the idea of someone helping me was, You know, I was very much like, I can do this all by myself and I don't need anyone.
Yeah.
And that's negative in itself, and it's not healthy, because we all need help.
Yeah.
And I'm all right with that now. I love it. I'm like, do you want to help me? Great, let's get it on.
I need some help right now.
I need some help.
Did you have therapy then?
Yeah. I still go to therapy.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Fucking love therapy. It's great.
Advocated to everybody. I think a lot of men in particular feel they don't want to admit to it, or don't want to admit to pain. They don't want to talk about it, and especially if they feel like they went to therapy, they feel like they've lost, or they've lost a battle. They should be able to cope with it themselves. And
that's still the taboo around mental health.
Yeah.
But therapy is great, and I love it. Like, at least
how often do you go?
I went in. The last time I went was February.
Okay.
And then I think it was, when was it? Second month of lockdown. I re-referred myself. I was okay. I wasn't feeling depressed. There was just some inner things that I felt like I needed some clarity on, and didn't particularly feel like I was getting that by myself or reading. So I do a lot of reading. I was just like, I just need that professional ear, you could say. But obviously it was, and guidance, and obviously it was lockdown, so they weren't doing face-to-face ones, so it was a lot of phone ones, but it was great, and I needed it. And I'm forever grateful for therapy. I don't think it should be something that people should feel ashamed to talk about, because it really is okay not to be okay, and it really is okay to need help. There is so much strength in vulnerability, and it took me so long to realise that.
That's a great quote. That's going in one of the snippets. There is so much strength in vulnerability. And I've never heard that before.
It took me a while. I used to hate being vulnerable. The idea of crying in front of someone, the idea of anyone seeing me like weak, it was just.
Where do you think that comes from, in especially our society or our surroundings? We have to like be right all the time. We have to be this perfect robot thing. Like, today in the podcast, like, we've hit things by accident, we've kicked things, and like it can be, life's clumsy.
I'm waiting for my bruise to come. Literally, I twat my knee on my bed at least once or twice a month. Literally, I'm there like, what the fuck?
But what a great metaphor for what we're talking about in life. Like, it is bumping into things and being clumsy and making mistakes and learning from them. And we just feel like when we put on social media, which we'll talk about later, everything just has to be this perfect self and this perfect form, and it's just so unrealistic. We're building up an unrealistic life.
And then I feel like that kind of leads to other people feeling like they need to live their lives, and it's the comparison of, oh well, they're doing that and she's got that and she's got this going on, or he's got that going on in his life and I don't have that, and then it adds pressure, and it's just bullshit. It's fucking bullshit.
Do you have, it seems like you do you have quite a good friendship circle and group connect? Because especially you, like, I don't know to speak to you enough, and I would say you're my friend, but we're not
absolutely
like friends, like we meet each other up and have coffees yet. We will do, and I can't wait for this.
You've just introduced me to a black coffee, and I'm a bit like, I like this. I'm not sure what's going on in my brain at the minute.
It's a world of chaos.
I told him I was vegan yesterday, and he didn't bring me dairy-free milk, guys.
Oh mate, I bought some almond milk in, but it's gone. It's
I'm all right. I'm drinking my water. Drinking my water.
But you're somebody, and I honestly mean this, if you said to me, Mikey, you're being a knob, or Mikey, you're doing it wrong in this way, or you need to look in this part of your life, I'd listen to it, because I just feel like you're a no bullshit person. You've just got a straightforwardness that I appreciate. I like that side of it. Do you have friends like that in your life that will just tell you, right, you need to look at this, or come on, stop, think of this?
And I feel like it's taken me a while to get those group of friends. Being I don't know if you feel the same, but with women, we're very hormonal. We can be extremely bitchy and catty, and growing up until I reached kind of like my teenage years, most of my friends were lads, so I always just got on better with lads. And I've had some pretty shitty female friends over the years, and it's taken until the later sides of my 20s to actually have like a really good group of friends, shuffling over here, a really good group of friends where I can literally just be my authentic self with, and that's the good and the bad, and I'm not being judged, and we're just there for each other and it's safe. And we're all capable of being knobs, and we all call each other out on it, but not in an unhealthy way either. It's more like we always want to try and get to the bottom of each other's problems and the root of it and what's causing it. And that's really healthy, and they're so supportive, and we've just got a really good supportive
network
group of friends, and it's great.
I mean, from the starting out for me, like going around the Ripley lads and stuff, we used to like pride each other on like just taking the piss out of each other, but also it was always very negative. Like the energy that would distill from each other would always be from the lowest frequency. We'd like make each other want to feel bad, and that was part of the game. And it was so strange to then get into the music scene, get into the creative scene, go out to Nottingham, meet poetry heads or whatever, and they seemed to like completely flip that on its head, and they'd like want to like big you up all the time, or just want to like push you on and make you do well. And that was quite a shock to my system, because I was so used to
quite alien.
Yeah, it was so alien to me. And I used to go like when I've been travelling and not really know how to connect with people, because it was always on that low frequency, just take the piss, be not very nice, and people wouldn't navigate to it. And I was like, what? Why is this used to work at home?
Why isn't it working?
Yeah, why isn't it working here? So
I mean, bantering, there's a difference, a good bit of banter, because I've got friends where we literally just rip the piss out of each other, but it is in a healthy bantering way. We don't walk away from each other and feel like, oh, she's really made me feel like
there's boundaries.
There's boundaries,
but you don't speak about them, they're just known.
They're just known.
Love's still coming across, and being shown.
But bantering is important, and being able to be, have that kind of level of, we're taking the piss out of each other, but it is literally harmful. I mean, harmless, sorry. And I love that, because I'm quite a bantery person, and I can be incredibly sarcastic when I want to be.
Well, that's the English nature, innit? You should go try sarcasm in Australia.
I'd love to.
It doesn't get you anywhere. It's so scary. They're like, what you fucking on about, you cunt? And I'm like, mate, this is how we communicate. I promise you. Like,
I'm not taking the bit. Well, I am, but I'm not. But we've got quite a dry sense of humour, I think. Britons have. We're quite dry.
So I've just started watching like really old comedy, like Fawlty Towers, and what were we watching the other day? Life of Brian, and there's a lot of dry humour in there. There's
I've never
a lot
watched any of them.
Mate,
I watched them?
It's very British, but it's very like sarcastic and just dry, and like one-liners and stuff. It's very funny. Like I like what we've built our comedy up on. It's very different to the American form of comedy, I think. I'm into comedy though. Like when you got me now,
your face is literally
I was like, oh, well, there's this guy I like, but I want to talk more about you.
Okay.
So, Bambis Den, when did that actually come to be?
So the actual name Bambi was given to me by one of my best friends, Nicole, giving her a shout out. I was in my, what year was we in? Second year of uni, student nights out.
Yeah.
Messy.
So you were at uni then?
Yeah.
Which uni is this?
Derby.
Derby uni.
I went to Derby
Everything
uni.
Derby.
I will branch out. I have branched out in some areas, yeah. But
You're on the farm today.
I'm on the farm.
Look how well you're doing.
Yeah.
Country bumpkin.
I want to live in the countryside. It is my actual top of like, I do write myself goals, and countryside is
on the top.
Yeah, and I envision how I want French doors that back onto like land. That's it. I don't care what the rest of the house looks like. I just want French doors that I can open and just have land
straight onto
just
it.
Yeah. Love it.
Mine's are very similar. I want them doors, but like into a lake. Do you know, in like Canada?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That is my end goal dream.
Yeah.
Even if it is on a bus, but
even if it's a bus
on a lake. Oh, mate.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna get there. We're gonna get those doors. We're manifesting it right now.
I really am. We've got me and Chrissy keep doing like little 5-year plans and little 5-year ideas. Now, I think it's good to have goals, isn't it? And tangible things to aim towards.
Of course.
I just thought, I'm going to live life like really whatever comes. And there's an element that's good to that, but you never really get anything done. No. I used to smoke a lot of pot as well. So I always just kept like spinning on circles and just like, I'll do this one day maybe, but not having anything linear to actually hit. But then the moment I met Chrissy and other stuff in my life stopped me smoking weed and stuff, I remember actually writing a list down and looking at it and thinking, no, I'm going to hit that and hit that, and you can actually start ticking it off.
Yeah,
it's a much healthier way.
I've been on a mad journey with weed over the years.
Okay.
Crazy journey. But when I actually stopped, I'm going to say when I stopped being a pothead.
Yeah.
Because occasionally I still enjoy the odd smoke.
I agree.
But it's, you know, very sporadic now. Like, I can't smoke weed the way I used to, because it's just, it doesn't agree with me anymore, and I don't
put some
enjoy
mad stuff in it, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm like, this is, and then they've got all these crazy names now, and I'm like, just give me some, just give me just blues, lemon and cheese, and that's it. Don't come at me with this unicorn fucking dog days bullshit, because I'm not about it. No. But no, I did smoke weed for a long time. And never really used to see it as a problem, and then it kind of got to the point where it was not helping me at all. Like, I'm smoking it and I'm not feeling motivated, I'm not wanting to do anything, and it was a journey to stop as well. Like, it was like I made the decision that I wanted to stop, but it took 2 years of like back and forth with it, until I got to this stage where like I did like a solid year and a half without it, which was like amazing. Then felt comfortable smoking it, you know, if I'm at a festival, or I can smoke it socially with my friends. But having weed in my life to the point where I'm smoking it every day is a recipe for disaster. Yeah. It just doesn't agree with me anymore. But the day that I was just like, I'm done with this shit, my life just improved so much. I just started smashing more of my goals. I was feeling a lot more motivated, a lot more positive. It was like the haze had gone. And that is the thing with weed. Like, it is great, and I'm not against it at all. But like everything, proceed with caution. Yeah, because
nuance as well. There's a grey area in
there is a grey area in it.
People a lot of people, or some people, feel they have to speak on the white or the black of things, and it's either a bad thing or a good thing. There's no in between. It's like, it's all individual. Like, if you know your mind, which you clearly have had a big journey of discovery, and you might be like a big thinker, and you've got voices all the time, or like, and again, they can exacerbate mental health and illness, like psychosis I've dealt with, schizophrenia, all these parts. Weed has got a element in it, it's THC, but that just amplifies who you are as a character a lot of the time, and it really affected me and harmed me. But like, when I was starting up, it was so fun.
Oh, it was great.
I was just like with like my mates, like just talking about the outside the box thinking. Then it would make me creative as well. It wasn't all negative.
I think it goes quite like full circle. I remember when I first started smoking weed, it was fun with my mates. You know, get high, get the munchies, laugh so much, and then you just build up such a tolerance to it that you're just smoking it.
I can't say that I don't miss it,
but I still get the munchies. Even like, still, if I know that I'm smoking a joint, then I need to have like a cup of tea.
Have you tried CBD? Do you rock with that?
CBD.
What do you have that in? How'd you take it?
I've had CBD, the capsules. Okay. And then I have the oil that you can put under your tongue, but it tastes grim. Right. Oh, I didn't like it at all.
Just plug this in before we go on any further.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
I'm very good at post-production as well. I can put a little clip in there.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
It's a massive one.
Weed.
Yeah. It's beautiful though, and I think it serves a purpose. I think for me, and this is just like my opinion, I think maybe humanity has maybe lost what weed is put on this planet for, because I do strongly believe it has medicinal purposes. I do strongly believe it should be enjoyed. I'm in no way against it, but it does have its dark side as well. And you know, I started smoking weed when I was really young, and I kind of wish I'd waited.
They always say wait till the brain
yeah, because it's about your frontal lobe. So when you're picking up weed when you're like 13, 14, I wish I'd waited a little bit.
I mean, I think they say the frontal lobe's supposed to be developed when you're about 25. So that feels to me like a time I wished I would have experimented in my mid-20s. I know I'm still nearly in them, but if I would have done it like 24, 25 rather than 13, 14, I wouldn't have had the predispositions that I've got now with my brain development, because I do like... The one thing that stopped me from doing it was I experimented with lots of different psychedelics after that. But it was one that I took that literally told me no. I mean, I went to a different realm and a different place, but...
Just go to a different place?
Yeah, it was somewhere else. I don't know where I was, but I didn't like it very much.
Well, it wasn't a bit of me, that one, was it?
I met many things there, but I remember I was just like... to reach for something around just to get like normality back, and it was like, oh, weed, I know that, and as I touched that, like the whole room just evaporated, and I was like, no, I can't do that anymore. And ever since I tried to have a bit, like just went to Amsterdam,
something in your brain
it just clicked, and it just I can't do it. I'm relieved by it. I'm quite happy that I'm not on that path anymore, because I was just going down and down and down into this path that I wasn't happy with who I was as a person. And that's the thing with young people now, and I know so many that it's like just smoking like 10 spliffs a day, more like 15, just go through an ounce in a week.
Wake and bake.
Yeah,
Don't
and
miss
it's just
those
like,
days.
just be honest to yourself. Give yourself a few questions to answer, like, is this affecting me financially?
Yes.
Is this affecting my friends and circles? Is this affecting my mental health?
Yes.
And if you go and but honestly answer them, and they all say no, like, I'm fine, then keep on going on. Like, if it's really adding to your life, go with it. But people don't have honest conversations with themselves anymore. They don't like question, they just do. Oh, my mate's doing it though, so he's fine.
So I'm going to do it
like
too.
A canary down the mine.
There's moments though that I do really enjoy it. I go to, I don't know, when was it? I go to a festival in Bulgaria. I mean, I do enjoy smoking a joint at a festival. I do. Before you drink, because that's another problem as well. Don't get fucked and then smoke a split. Smoke first, then drink. And, you know, there's something quite nice before you are, you know, heading into whatever drum and bass tent you're trying to find, or jungle tent or whatever.
This sounds great.
Where you just want to sit on the grass with your shoes off and smoke a joint. And I like that. And I enjoyed that. But making it habitual to the point where I'm coming home from work and treating it like I would have, you know, some people have a glass of wine when they come in, some people smoke a joint. I'd much rather smoke weed than make alcohol habitual. But it does have its problems. And the one thing that for me was, again, when I was going through depression and then I was really suffering with anxiety, I was also smoking a lot of weed. So it was like I wasn't actually really sure what I was feeling, and if the weed was, is the weed making me more anxious, or am I making myself more anxious because I'm smoking weed, and then I know that I shouldn't be smoking it, and then you just sat there like going, something's got to give, something's got to give, something's got to give, and it's for me, like, weed's not physically addictive, but it is mentally addictive, and I will argue to anyone who tells me that it's not. Like, it is mentally addictive. If you're someone that smokes a lot of weed and you don't have it, put yourself to bed at 10 o'clock at night and come and tell me that you went to bed like straight away. You actually managed to fall asleep straight away, because you get into this cycle where you need to be high to go to sleep, and then you don't dream, or you do dream but you don't remember them. I never remembered any of my dreams. The first 2 weeks of stopping. Do you remember?
You do struggle to get into REM though, don't you?
Yeah. It was just, I was like, I don't like this. I'm not enjoying this anymore. I want to experience everything. I want to feel what I'm feeling without greeting a substance at the end of it.
Yeah, because then you get into that point of like, am I the substance? Or is the substance me? And you're like, what is a Michael Markham anymore? Like, who is this character? Have I just based it all through this weed substance? But I think, like what you were saying then, it exacerbates where you are at the time. So if you're depressed, definitely like get rid of all them substances that are mind altering in that period, because you've got to discover you entirely, you, without any substance altering that, and then get to that level. But if you're a happy, content person, you can keep cracking on as far as you want to go down with it. But it's that constant, not like questioning, not being curious of like, why am I feeling this way? It can't be that though. There's no possibility it could be this substance that's doing that to me. It must be. And they start putting the blame game on life outside of them and everybody else.
Yeah, and it becomes well, I need to smoke this because it makes me feel less stressed. I remember with weed, every emotion that I felt was greeted with a spliff. If I was happy, I'd smoke. If I was sad, I'd smoke. If I was excited, I'd smoke. It was just like everything was greeted with a spliff. I kind of got to the point where I was just like, what am I feeling?
All my friendships seem to be based on this too.
All my friendships are literally based on weed. So that didn't have any substance. Like, what is our substance?
Because it's funny, isn't it? Because I remember them days like you were on the hunt for it. So then you'd be with your mates and it was all this conversation of trying to locate it. Suddenly somebody's got a number. We can go to this guy. We get it. And it's all the conversations based on this. You get home, you have one together, and then you're just brain dead and watching something. You don't talk.
You don't talk. And I'm just like, no. Did you ever used to go like chip in with three of your mates, like two of your mates?
Yeah.
So it would be like £3.33 each or something.
Yeah.
We'll have to pay the extra 2p.
Like a meal.
10 bag of weed on a flipping weekend when you were 14.
I hate that when you're out for a meal with everybody and you've got that one because I'm just like, right, there's 4 people here, it doesn't matter what you've had, let's just split it, I'm fine. And then somebody has to like itemise everything and work it all out, and then you'd spend like half an hour after the meal thinking about it. And I've seen like actual fallouts from people with this
over a bill.
It's really strange, isn't it? It's such a, I'm just like, please, I'll take my money, I'll pay. I'm just get it gone.
Sort it out later.
I'm not a money orientated man, really, though. There's so many problems that emerge with money.
So again, I've been on a mad journey with money.
Okay.
Really, like I used to view money quite negatively, and it was after I listened to the audiobook. I think I actually mentioned this when I was on the bus,
there's so many
like
things mentioned on the back of this. On the back of this bus.
It's a book, and I recommend it to anyone, actually. Jen Sinclario, You Are Badass at Making Money. And someone recommended this book to me, and I was because it was You Are Badass at Making Money, I was very sceptical on like the term of it.
Yeah.
And it got to a chapter in the book where she said, you might have grown up in a household where money doesn't grow on trees, or constantly hearing the words we're skint, or we're broke, or we can't afford that. And then it plays with the law of attraction. So then you're just putting that bad energy into it. So for a long period, I've always been really good at saving if I had something to save for. Always been really good at, making sure all my bills are paid on time, but on the whole had quite a negative relationship with money because of the childhood I grew up with and the things that I used to hear about money. And then I had to really look at myself and be like, well, you run a business, so you really need to
start thinking,
wrap your head around money in a positive way. But when you look at how people use money in a corrupt way, it can be quite difficult to meet it halfway when you know that there is so many people out there, like the 1% of the world are like the richest people. There's so much that they could do, but greed has, kind of taken over. And another thing that Jen Sinclario says in her book is money isn't evil. People are evil. So
put towards it.
And it really helped me, because there's that whole concept, money is the root of all evil, and it's like, well, is it? Because money's just energy, and if you look at money in a positive way, it's actually a really positive thing. So I started writing like gratitude lists of what I was grateful that money allowed me to do. Money allows me to pay my rent, it allows me to pay my bills, I can treat my daughter, I can treat myself, I can go travelling, I run my vehicle, I can socialise with my friends, I'm going out for a meal. There's so many little, and that's looking at it in a material way of what money can do for you. But when we're looking at like future goals, and I've got future goals, that is going to require money.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I really needed to start looking at it in a healthier way.
Yeah.
If you are someone that has got a lot of money and you don't need that much money, and you can see problems in the world that money could help, and you're not doing anything about it, is that money's problem or is that your problem? So it really helped me be able to meet money on an equal playing thing, and now I openly say, like, I love money. It's great, it's wonderful.
I think it's something else you got me to write down, which was balance, though. And that's such an important topic to get onto. But like with money, with me, my friend said something as simple as, I call them fun tokens. Like, money is fun tokens to me. And it was something as simple as that. I was like, wow, that's what I want to see money as. Because I did have a really negative image of money. Yeah,
but
money,
I think it's so
like the root of evil.
The root of evil. But I think as well, like, if you're kind of not part of, like, you know, I grew up on a council estate. Everyone was poor around me. You know, I grew up in a poor environment. So it is easy to have that mindset built into you if that's all you've been shown and that's all you've been taught. But it's also totally okay to want to strive for more.
I suppose mine was on the flip side of that, because at my school, I was like the rich kid. And people that live on farms really aren't rich, like, because the money is just going in and out and in and out. And my mum had to get into like a massive mortgage to be here, and just still paying it off for the rest of their life. They'll be paying it off, but this was her passion. This was what she wanted for her life. So she went and just ran with that again. But at school, like, I never had any money. I didn't have all the good clothes and all the like rich materials going into school with. But people still like, oh, he lives on the farm, so he's the rich kid.
He's the rich kid.
So I was quite bullied. I mean, I was bullied for being fat as well. So there's fat and rich, and I was like, well, there's only one of them things that's true, and I take back the other. But again, that really did breed like a proper bad relationship with it for me, because I was like, oh, I really don't want any of this. I make sure I'd never want to touch money when I'm older, because people seem so hostile towards it. I'll never have friends, or I'll never have like people care about me truly, because they used to make connections over money towards me. And it really upset me, because I was like, I just want like to play on the bikes with you and go out running, and
you can come up to my farm as well if you want.
We can go make a den. We can make it together. But
got loads of land, mate.
Yeah, you just get like named over it, and that's how connections are made. Like back at school, though, isn't it? Like name calling over something. You got to pick a fault. So they're like, right, chubby, money, there's a ginger guy here. This is just constantly like picking.
You literally preaching someone. I literally dyed my hair for years because I was ginger, but now I love it. Literally love my hair colour now. I'm so grateful for it. But it's horrible when you're a kid and you get bullied.
It was just one thing I vividly remember, and I was like, I wish you knew the half of it. But it did grow me up when I was older to try and have a balanced diet towards money as well. Like, right, it can bring happiness, it can bring like all them fun tokens and sides, but the amount of arguments I've seen emerge over it, and the amount of people like, you owe me this or you owe me that.
It's why, on the whole, to make my life simple, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I absolutely will 100%, because I'm naturally a giving person, but if I can help it, I fucking hate lending money and I hate borrowing it, because it just can cause so much arguments. So if I can avoid it, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been times where I have had to in the past borrow money, and I'm totally okay with that. And there's been times where I've had to lend it, and I will lend it to anyone that needs it. If you really need it, I absolutely will. But if I can avoid it, then I'm going to, because it's just...
And are you now fully self-employed as well?
Yeah, I've been self-employed since I was 22.
Wow.
But I've only taken it seriously in the last... I went self-employed when I was at uni.
Okay.
Because I was a single... Well, I'm still a single mum, but when I was at uni, you know, I was broke.
Yeah.
I was 21. Well, I started uni when I was 19. So I was broke. I was a teenager with a little kid.
Wow.
And then I was getting like my student loans. And then when you weren't getting your student loans, you know, I had like a part-time job working in a tailoring shop on a Saturday. But then I was still entitled to job seekers.
Yeah.
And it was this whole kind of like, every time I went on a student loan I had to go back to the job centre, and every time, and then it was constant change of circumstances, which is just jarring. So the easiest thing for me to do, so I wouldn't have to keep going back to the job centre, was just register self-employed, and that's what I did. So I was doing like tax returns every year, but I wouldn't say I was I was self-employed, and I was doing odd self-employed things.
But
I wasn't. I didn't particularly take. Yeah, I didn't take it seriously. It was a convenient means to an end.
Yeah.
For that period in my life, I officially went. I'd say officially in regards to me taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Probably about 3-4 years ago.
Right, and but are you getting enough fun tokens now to live the life you
really is
wanna
getting
live?
there. Like, there's obviously with self-employment, and anyone will tell you,
And
especially with
these times,
COVID, COVID was a massive bitch, sit down.
Really?
Okay.
Everyone just went and hibernated. Didn't
Yeah,
they, really?
it was. The business did take a massive hit this year because of COVID, but what am I going to do? Everyone's in the...
cry about it?
No, can't cry about it. Or you just got... Or do something about it and get creative, and that's what I did.
Excellent.
But I was also okay with it.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to slow down. So I was just like, thank you.
That's how I saw it, actually. I hear a lot of negative talk towards COVID, but for me, it was a really good time to reevaluate what I want to do, reposition myself, and just be creative. I mean, there has been very tricky days, with everybody.
Yeah, of course.
It's a completely new time of change, and we usually really struggle with change, don't we? But me and Chrissy have really got to sit there, be in our creative selves, and put our creative hats on. I've really enjoyed it, and the simplicity about it. We make dinner and we make breakfast, get up, what should we do now? Go for a walk? Yeah, come back, make
some more food.
The simplicity about it is what I've really missed, and I suppose that's going back to our tribalistic nature of just the basic needs met.
Well, we're not robots, and now that's the thing with I think with a lot of if we look at humanity as a collective, it's this whole rat race mindset and the constant need to produce, and if you're not producing, then you're not doing enough, and then people get caught up on their self-worth because they're not doing enough, and it's bullshit. We need to slow down because we need to appreciate, what's around us. We need to appreciate ourselves. It's a great time for learning. I did so much reading. I reread books that I've not read in years. I remember just I think it was second week in, I was just sat on my bed reading, smashing out loads of books, and I loved it. And I was just cooking. My daughter became a Michelin star chef. She was just in the kitchen
you go, girl.
all the time. She just wanted to cook.
What was she making?
Everything. She's not vegan, so she was just right, wow. I need everything. And I was like, right, okay.
Give us a steak in,
Mum. Well, no, she doesn't like steak.
Okay.
No, she finds it a bit too chewy.
Yeah.
She loves the fish and she likes the chicken. She's got
really
a good balance. She loves it. She's got a good balance with food, because I made her watch some documentary. I was like, it's homeschooling time, is it?
And it was Netflix.
So I was like, right then, we're going to watch What the Health.
Yeah.
We're going to watch this, and we're going to watch this, and then...
Amazing.
Yeah, and she did, and she's I was veggie for... I love how this conversation's just gone from COVID to lockdown to food to Michelin
I'm in.
It's just great,
please,
isn't
as sporadic as we are, this is great.
So I was veggie for 3 years before I went vegan. 2 years prior to that, I'd already been on a veggie journey, and it didn't work for me. I think I didn't do enough research into it, and I just failed.
I mean, you were feeling unwell from it, or?
Yeah, incredibly. But I just completely cut everything out. I was just our bodies need B12. Right, that's why I'm feeling shit.
Yeah. Give me that.
So then ended up back eating meat, then wrapped my head around it, then went in again.
Okay.
And then did 3 year veggie, and then 2.5 years into that really started cutting out my milks and my cheeses, and just started working more with vegan food. And she's always been open-minded about it. She eats what I eat. There's some things that she doesn't like, but I've kind of I'd love her to be vegan, but I don't own her.
Yeah.
So I can't force my...
Lovely attitude to have, though.
Yeah, I can't force my views onto her. But if you want to cook me, We have got a rule in my house though. Like, I will buy you your meat because I am like your parent and it's my responsibility, but I ain't cooking it.
It's a great rule. So
You
she's
can
had to learn on her own accord.
So you can cook.
That's great. How does she find out?
I'll teach you I'll tell you what seasonings to put on it.
Yeah.
I remember I seasoned chicken and shit. But I'm not cooking it.
How does she make sure it's not like pink inside and stuff though? You just let her know.
Cut it with the knife, obviously, if the juices are running clear. But also just open it. Oh, look, it's still red.
You'll let her know that she can't.
I'm not going to give a food poisoning. Hey, you're not vegan.
Yeah. I like that.
Get salmonella. No.
How long have you been on the vegan path for now then?
Since January. I did it as like like in January there's the Veganuary challenge, but I don't like that, especially in January, because I find it quite pressurising. It's the whole like New Year's resolution
I'm not a fan
kind
of
of thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt that was that. So I'm thinking like August 2019 I really started like being vegan, but not strict. And then January came around and I was like, I'm not doing the challenge, but I am doing the challenge. But we're going to talk about it, and it's not called a challenge. I'm just ready now.
Just some goals.
It's just a goal. Just a goal. And
I've got an idea in my head about
I've got
something.
an idea, like fully stocked up on everything. And
Nice.
yeah.
I mean, do you get in like big wild debates on the veganism thing?
I've taken myself away from it. I just can't be arsed. As much as much as I think it is important to talk about, especially you know, we're looking at animal cruelty, we're looking at environmental issues, and we're looking at health issues with ourselves. It is an incredible and important topic of conversation to have. But I have just learned, even when I was veggie, it's
you got to like pick what hill you're willing to die on, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't quite like this hill.
Yeah.
Have
you got a hill then that you really are willing to die on? Is that what
sustainable fashion? Sustainable fashion, 100%.
I mean,
because sustainable fashion also plays a role with animal cruelty as well. It's so
okay. It was a vague term for me. I know the word sustainable and I know the word fashion, but I was just so like not sure on it when we were having that discussion on the back of the bus. I came in and I know Chrissy did a dissertation on it, and you were, is that what you studied at uni?
I studied fashion at uni, yeah.
But it opened up so many doors to me. I've had so many conversations with Chrissy since, and it's been really enlightening. I've really enjoyed it, and that's why like I feel good when I go to the shops now with my nan, going to the charity days, because I feel not just like that we're having a nice day out, but I'm doing something good for the planet now, and it makes me it rewards me in that way. So what is our society like at being sustainable? Are we really bad?
We're bad
In the UK?
We are so bad.
What would you say is the worst thing? Is it landfill? Is that like buying from
resources and landfill? So if we look at industries in the world, you know, we've got like the fuel industry.
Yes, yeah.
Oils, coal, you know. Then you've got fashion. And then it's like meat. So the fashion industry is dirtier than agriculture, which is quite bizarre.
When it comes to fashion, are we saying literally clothing in general?
We're talking about clothing, we're talking textiles, we're talking fabrics. You got to think 80% of the world is made up of fashion and textiles.
Because the word fashion for me, I'm literally straight away I think of the people walking down a catwalk and then they've got all that's mad to me as well. The stuff they put them in really scares me.
I don't even watch catwalks anymore. The fashion industry, and I remember when I first started out, the fashion industry used to play the actual industry itself in terms of the catwalks and the fashion shows and trends used to inspire me so much. And I used to think that like I had to design that way and I had to think that way in order to fit into that industry. But then when you take a step back and I'm like, I don't fucking like this. I don't like any of it. I don't want to know what the latest trend is, so I don't give a fuck. I don't want to know what she's wearing on the catwalk. I don't want to know, you know, we live in this thing where it's like, oh God, that jumper is so last year. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I still like it and I'm going to wear it.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to be.
I suppose you've got to get into that first, though, to see it for what it is.
You absolutely do.
I like this
quote, really do.
And it's more about the mind, but he says you've got to lose yourself to find yourself. And when you finally find yourself.
And I really did lose myself, and it was a very like...
I've done that in my trend, in my clips.
It's so beautiful. I love it. I'm like, right, guys, I'm lost.
But it's great to go down that path of just doing what everyone else does for a bit and making them mistakes and seeing what it's all about, and then going, oh no, don't forget yourself, or find yourself again, and then go, this is bullshit, this is you've all just gone and conditioned your minds. I want to be... I like the elements of this. I like clothing. I like looking good. I like going out and feeling good. But the way you're all doing it's just corrupt. And that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's wrong.
So is that's how it started out? Was you watching TV shows with fashion walks and stuff, or?
Yeah, like it was a really big thing at uni, and then when I remember like getting into uni. But I had my daughter, got pregnant with my daughter when I was in my first year of college. So I was 17 when I was pregnant, so I had a really young. And I flunked school, flunked college, and I was like, I'm going to uni. I wanted to go to uni. It wasn't a thing where I felt pressured to go and do it. I genuinely wanted to go to uni, but I also knew that like I'm not flunking this. I'm going to smash it, and I did.
Wow. Did you go out still and party?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you?
Yeah.
But you just had your head on.
But I had my head on. My head was screwed on. I was a young mum, of course. But I did student things. It's important if you're at uni. It's a rite of passage, 100%.
It's packaging parcel, isn't it?
It is. But the sustainable thing was, I think, I remember like I was saying earlier, when I first got into it, I was really into like my vintage clothes, and I really love styling. But it was when I was in my second year of uni, and if you're on fashion at Derby Uni, during your second year, it's placement year.
Okay.
So you have to go out and either find a 4-week placement in the industry, or you can do the DPP gap year, which gives you a degree and a diploma. And I was like, well, I want the fucking diploma as well. So I'm going to go and do my gap year. I want all of it.
Yeah.
So my friend... I was really struggling to find a placement. I had like a lot of things to consider. I did have a part-time job. I had Tay. So for me, it was like I was quite struggling to find a placement that would fit into my life. And my best friend Nicole was also struggling with that problem. She was working almost full-time. And then we found a shop on Green Lane and was just like, fuck it, let's open up a shop.
Wow.
We didn't open it for longevity. We knew that it particularly wouldn't do well. We was two broke-ass uni students who couldn't find a placement. So it was like, right, we'll just open up our own shop. But then you need stock. And I was like, oh, great, right, okay. So that's when I started doing more hunting in charity shops. Like my entry working with sustainable materials and finding thrifted fabrics didn't come from an environmental cause. It was because I had no money.
Mate,
I had no money.
This is what I like so much about you, though. You just dive in head first and just like, I learn on the way.
You've got to.
It's ruthless and it's beautiful. It's so important.
But then I started researching, like, why is there so much material in charity shops and whatnot? And then, beautiful, Play and Recycle Centre. This is mine and Nicole's favourite place in Derby. So, Stocky. Do you know Stocky Road? You know where Monk Street is? Yeah. So around there, there's the Play and Recycle Centre. And I never knew this existed. And Nicole did. She was like, I've got to take you to this place, babe. You're going to have a field day. Yeah. And I was like, what is it? She was like, just meet me here at this time. Right, just bring a $5. And I was like, why am I bringing no? She went, no, bring a $10. Wow. I said, why do I need a $10? She was like, just bring a $10. And I was like, all right then.
I hope you were scared.
I don't know. I was exhilarated. I was like, oh, she wants me to bring a $10 and meet me in Stocky. This could mean anything.
This is great. Okay, I'm in.
And we got there and she was like, it's Play and Recycle Centre. And I walked in and you've got one side which is literally full of dead stock fabric that the industry has discarded.
Wow,
that doesn't seem beneficial. It's not fit. It's just let's get rid of it. Then you've got everything like zips and buttons and paints and paper, and just it was just great. It was just
Look
it was
at the way you're talking
it was
about
heaven. It was just great. I was like, oh my god, this is like Aladdin's cave. And it was £5 to sign up for the year membership. And then £5 to fill up your trolley, Mikey. Well, that was it. I was there with that trolley.
Yeah, up and down that aisle.
Up and down that fabric aisle. And then I remember asking the guy, like, why do you get so much fabric here? Why? And I think this was when I was like 20, 21. I remember asking him, like, why do you get so much fabric? Where has all this fabric come from? And he was like saying to me, it's what the industry don't want. Like, if we don't take it, it gets sent to landfill. So then I was like, what? I mean, I've always heard of like landfill in regards to, you know, where people just dump the flipping. I looked at landfill and thought of Rainsway Tip, and, you know, I knew that there was big areas of land where people dump their stuff, but never really looked at it in a fashion sense. Well, like, what do you mean it goes to landfill? So then went home and end up in wormholes, as you do, and I love wormholes. I mean, you go down one and you end up in 6.
Oh, is this on YouTube? Like
YouTube, the internet, books. You know, I was just reading and educating myself, and that's when I started to realise, like, this is fucked. This is actually fucked. And then you hear about designers that burn collections if they don't sell, and rather than put them on, rather than put them on sale because it looks good, they'll just burn them. Just burn them.
Oh, I really hate it.
It's horrible. Yeah. It's really horrible. Not just.
There's a little thing in my stomach.
I know. It's just like, what do you mean? You just
give it to somebody that needs clothing.
So that was where my sustainable journey
outlook on life came from.
Outlook like really changed. You know, and I really started to look more into charity shops more, not just for buying fabric, but also buying my clothes. So I'd like go to a charity shop and buy, you know, curtains to make a jacket out of, but then would still go and shop on the high street for my clothes. So it was like I was doing something sustainable, but also I was a walking contradiction. It was what we was talking about earlier. So then I was just like, no, I just need to move into charity shops and vintage fairs. And if anyone's getting rid of any clothes, I'm happy to take a look at them.
Do you actually take like from people as well?
If
like,
people, I'm always that person now where people are like, we've got a bag of clothes, do you want to have a look at them?
Excellent.
I've had to start saying no.
I was going to say, how many bags have you got in your house?
My granny's notorious for it. I've got a bag of clothes for you, darling, and I'll go, and I'm like, well, I like these jeans, granny, I'll have them. I'll take them to the charity shop for you, or I'll see if anyone else wants them. But yeah, that was my entry.
Is that like the best way we need to start looking at this is with charity shops and upcycling, and is that the most ethical way?
Stop buying fast fashion. Fast fashion, is it called? Fast fashion, that is what it's called.
What's that mean? It just keeps like, it's not there for a season and then it's in and out,
So if we go back, let's say, oh God, you know, we had like Charlesworth haute couture, that was like before the turn of the century. So if we're going into like turn of the century, let's go like 30s and 40s. Well, even before that, Chanel 20s. We had, you know, designers would bring out collections twice a year.
Right.
Would have spring, summer, and would have autumn, winter.
Yeah.
And that was that.
Ace.
And over the years, we end up with 4 collections a year, which is spring, summer, autumn, winter. Then we'd have cruise and resort, which is like the equinox. Oh, by the way, happy equinox! Happy equinox! Happy equinox, everyone! So yeah, we'd have like cruise and resort collections, which kind of became like the equinoxes of like, right, it's not quite summer, it's not quite autumn, but we're going to bang out another collection anyway. So then 4 collections were getting churned out. And the thing is with the high fashion brands and the catwalks is they're bringing out a collection, and then you've got your high street brands. So let's look at some generic ones. Topshop, H&M, River Island,
Primark.
I don't know if I just said that. Let's go again. Topshop, H&M, River Island, Zara, Primark. 5 generic high street shops. So and then obviously there's loads more, but we're going to go for those 5. So they'll go, right, that's the latest thing. This is what we're going to design. This is what we're going to make.
Okay.
But then you get the shops underneath them that are going to be like, right, that's what these high street brands are going to do. So this is what we're doing. And then before you know it, you've just got clothes. Everywhere.
And they're all sort of imitating
and
each
they're all
other as well.
imitating
Okay.
each other. You know, they're all it's trend.
I hate seeing it as well, though. Do you know when
I
like
hate that word.
5 people have walked down the same street in the same top, though?
Yeah,
together?
I'm
You're
over it. I'm so
why would you
fucking
want
over
that?
it.
Why have you got comfort in that? Like, I love going to the gym and knowing like my tie-dye top that Chris has cut up and put a little badge on and something else is the only one going to be in that gym. So it shows my individuality, and like I like showing myself off with what I put on. It makes me feel my own person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think people are quite scared to be their own person a lot of the time. They're like, right, I'm going to the gym, everyone wears black, I'm going to put my black top on then with nothing on it to show off too much.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it. Maybe I overlook into everything, but that's why I see people not conscious of what they're buying.
It's kind of like social manipulation, though.
Yeah.
And that's how trends work.
Yeah.
It's the same with technology and phones, you know, and phones very much today are designed to break. You know, that's why people get new phones every year. Got to have the new iPhone, I've got to have the new this, I've got to have the new that. And I'm just like, you really don't. Take it to a phone shop.
But it makes sense, like, if people think in their mind, like, I kind of want to fit in, I don't want to be too out there or individual, they're like, where do people shop? Okay, Topshop's generic, Topshop's like that. And if you go and look on the aisles and look on the different labels and stuff, you'll get a pretty generic top and a pretty generic style, and that's how I see people end up looking the same because of that. But it's the concept in their mind that they're created. I don't want to stand out too much, but if we built a concept where it's like, I want to stand out, I want to be my own person, I want to be an individual, we'd start getting them to go into charity shops or trying to upcycle, because they've got to, like, it's like a game then, isn't it? You've got to have the coolest or funkiest or most different clothing, and I think you could see it like that. I think you could start opening eyes like that. I remember at the football days with my mates, I'd go up, I'd have my bucket hat on and some funky stuff, and they're like, bloody hell, is he pissed again? And they're like, where do you go shopping? But then I've had other mates there saying, like, I like what you've got on, you're always different, where'd you go? And when you say charity shop, the stigma towards it and the mindset is like, you go charity shop, does it stink if somebody's died in that and all that? It's like, mate, it's just clothing, it's better for the environment, better for the planet.
But even with charity shops, there is a huge problem.
Really?
Only between 10 and 20% of clothes that get sent to charity shops are sold.
Right, okay.
The rest go to landfill.
Just landfill.
So there's a huge problem with that, but the reason there's a huge problem with that is because the Western society, and I'm not talking about England, I'm talking Europe, have this, you know, it's so easy. Charity shops get inundated with clothes just because we don't stop buying them.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
So, and you know, and it's not the charity shop's fault. They're doing the best that they can with what they've got. But if we all just started to slow down and stopped buying as much as we are, then charity shops would have a better working environment to work in. They would be able to do their job better, shall we say. Because we very much live in this mindset where it's like, right, I'm going out for the weekend, I need a new dress. It's like you've actually probably got about like 10 decent dresses in your wardrobe that you could wear and restyle. You know,
like on the Simpsons, I've seen that episode.
You wore it one way one week. Why don't you know, add a belt, change your jewellery, like jazz it up. There's so many things that you can do.
Marge on the Simpsons gets a Chanel dress and it's really beautiful, and then like she keeps going to the same like posh parties, and then they notice it's the same, so she goes home and has to like manipulate it and stuff. And it's a great episode.
But the Simpsons have always been great at that, haven't they? They've known. I want to know like how they know.
That guy,
because I want to know.
Like, they've got a guy in the future, haven't they? Keep documenting really back, sending
them. I want to know this man, woman, whoever. But yeah, there's that problem with the charity shop side of it as well, that a lot of our clothes will still end up in a landfill after going through a charity shop because they can't sell everything. And charity shops also still have to work on seasonal trends. So if it's summer, they're cracking out the summer stuff. If it's winter, they're getting out the winter stuff. So there's that element to it as well. What, for me, the message that I always want to get across with sustainable fashion isn't just the harm it's causing to our planet. So, I think it's like over 1 trillion gallons of water is used every year just to dye fabric.
Right, okay.
And that's a lot of water.
Yeah, that is a lot.
You know what I mean? We're living in unprecedented times. That is it's a lot of water. It can take between 500 and 1,800 gallons of water just to produce an item of denim, whether that's jeans or a jacket. So when we're looking at numbers and figures of resources on how that's actually harming our planet, but also taking away the resources that we need to survive, that is a huge problem, and a problem that we should all be looking at in a mindful way. But the biggest thing for me is trying to get people to understand that not only is it harming the planet, but it is harming people. So if we look at Western society, we can look at it as a problem of consumerism, this constant need to consume, which then can fall under the line of capitalism. So it's this constant need to always want stuff, because society is telling us that we always need to have new things. You need the next best thing. You're not going to be happy unless you have that dress. You're not going to be happy if you do this.
Very much mindset, isn't it?
And it's a mindset thing, and it's one of those things where you want to shake people and be like, you don't need it, but you've got to let people get there themselves.
A good word is enough, isn't it? And we never know when we've had enough. Like it's like what we were talking about before: weed, money, materials. It's always just going with enough is good enough for where you need to be. Like wanting the more and the more and the more. Like money's a number; it just goes on infinitely. You'll never have.
You'll have enough. You've got to find a happy balance with money. Appreciate it and respect it. But don't make it the be all and end all of your life.
And the same with clothes. I suppose when I'm going out, if I'm conscious when I'm there of picking up tops, but actually thinking I've got 50 tops back home now. I've been to loads of charity shops. I don't need another top. I can upcycle the ones I've got. It's having that conscious realm inside of you to go, I've got enough now, and constantly being like that and reflective. It's very much what you're saying and speaking to me. It seems like mindset, and our mindset is like, oh, if the planet's dying, we'll just do this, and we'll just try like going to charity shops. But you're like, no, there's still the mindset there where you've got to be conscious of even that, of like having enough in your own home. I'm gonna like get inside and like think I've not got many vests, so maybe I can start cutting off some little bits like that for the gym.
Some tie-dyeing as well.
I'm well excited. You've got me right in the mood for going in and just ripping all my clothes to shreds and stuff. What about materials? Like, is cotton good to go for?
So if we just going back to how it harms, because this is like really important, just how it like harms people is, majority. There's roughly about 40 million garment workers in the world, and majority of them are women,
right?
And men as well, but predominantly women that work in India. And Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Indonesia, and they are paid. It's actually really like upsetting to even say like they are paid a ridiculously poor amount of money. Like it's disgusting. So if you've got like I'm a garment worker, I make clothes and I alter clothes. I know what goes in and the time that goes in to constructing a piece of clothing or altering a piece of clothing or upcycling a piece of clothing. So when you've got women working in sweatshops that are being paid, no more than 40p an hour, sometimes 20p an hour, sometimes not even that. And they're working in poor conditions, in poor countries, and they've got their own families to feed just so we can wear a £10 dress. There's such a disconnect.
How do you boycott
humanity? Stop buying high street shit.
But I mean, if you don't buy from there, I'm just saying, like, what happens to their jobs then? And say if they become obsolete.
The idea is to force brands to pay fair living wages.
Yeah, that,
do you know what
that
I mean?
makes
So
total sense, yeah.
You saw it there was a massive thing during lockdown when it first kicked up, pay up. It was really trending on social media.
Yeah.
Primark has just paid up. But you've got Topshop, multi-billion pound business, weren't paying the workers.
Yeah, I think he owns it.
They're already living in, really bad conditions, and now they're dealing with a pandemic, and you're not paying your workers. Like, even that, the disconnect. I was lucky enough to be furloughed from one of my jobs. Majority of the UK has been furloughed during a pandemic, yet you've got people in more disadvantaged countries that aren't being paid anything, and you've got people in Western society who aren't willing to pay up, even though you're sitting on billions of pounds.
We like Primark, don't we?
And it's but Primark's just paid up, so well done. They've just paid up, but there's it's a problem.
Yeah.
And I kind of always say to someone, if you can buy a dress from a high street shop, if you can walk into Primark and buy a dress for 10 quid, someone somewhere has not been paid.
Yeah.
And that is the truth of it.
Yeah.
And then we saw it on our doorstep in Leicester, down the road. I don't know if you heard about that during.
No.
So obviously Leicester went into like a local lockdown. That they had a rise in cases, and I think people were trying to get to the bottom of where it's come from, and then it came to light that it was clothing factories. Boohoo hadn't paid their workers.
Right.
Now, I didn't even know Boohoo had a factory in Leicester. I wasn't aware of this, and I was extremely shocked. Leicester has always been a bit notorious for sweatshops.
Oh, I didn't know this at all.
But I didn't realise it was for like Boohoo. Now, Boohoo also own Pretty Little Thing, and I think it's Oasis or Coast that they bought out. I think it might be, it's one of the two. I don't shop with Boohoo. I don't like them. I don't even like the clothes that they produce. It's just never appealed to me. But when you've got it on your doorstep, now it came to light that these garment workers had been paid like £3.50 an hour throughout lockdown, with no safety measures in place, no distancing, no hand sanitizers, no nothing. And you've got Boohoo again sitting on billions of pounds, and you've got slave labour happening on your doorstep.
Yeah. How does somebody that doesn't know about these corporations and how the cogs work, how do you learn about that, and how would I go out to find about that?
So I started finding out more, and this was a very important moment within fashion. It's something that I do talk about a lot, and highly recommend people to go and research it and read into it. Was in 2013, the Rana Plaza factory collapsed in Bangladesh, and it was like a 5-story high factory, and there'd been reports for quite a while that the building was unsafe. Walls were shaking, and and you've got
I heard about this actually.
thousands of people, 1,138 garment workers died on that day, and a further like 2,500 people were injured. And they were creating clothes for the Western society. Yeah. So I don't think it was the first factory that collapsed, but it was, the first factory that really made mainstream media headlines, which was important. Yeah. So that's when I went deeper into it, and I'm like, right, underpaid garment workers. So there's so much that goes into like sustainable fashion as an umbrella. There's so much that goes into it, and I just remember being like, I never want to mass produce garments ever. I never want to mass produce garments.
I think the worst conception that people have is like, what can we do?
What can we do about it? Out of sight, out of mind.
But that's like over there, isn't it? Yeah, it's on your own individual level, just making the right choices at the right time, to being mindful of it, I suppose, and not having that concept of what can I do about it. Just do your research, listen, and just pick on that basis, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot today. Honestly, I'm really enjoying it. Like I love to reflect, and I love to like have new ways to live my life by. Like being like, oh, I didn't know that about Boohoo, but I'm probably not going to go there now because I've heard this fact. And I think if people could emanate like that and talk to each other, and collectively we'd get somewhere. Because I'm so out the blue towards fashion. Like,
it's one of those as well. Like going. As well, like with being vegan, like I openly talk about sustainable fashion. I openly talk about it with my friends. My friends completely understand why I do what I do. Yeah. But you can't force your views onto people. Yeah. And I don't ever want to fall out with anyone over their choices either, because it's just. It's just that divide. The only thing that I hope that I can continue doing is spreading a message, and that message is just please be mindful. Just please be mindful. You don't even need to like think that you need to change your entire life in a day. Just be mindful.
And we can always be a little bit better than we were yesterday.
Exactly.
And just keep trying to strive for a little better version of who we are, and making the world a little bit better in that way.
With the fashion industry, and especially if we're looking at garment workers, then we can bring in how actually that's kind of structural and institutionalized racism, because majority of garment workers around the world are black or people of color. So you won't catch, to put it bluntly, you wouldn't catch a factory of white people. And people wouldn't expect a family of a factory of white people working for 40p an hour. It won't happen.
A problem we've got now is people have done that us versus them game, and everyone wants to be right, and they don't want conversation anymore
about it. No.
They don't want to talk, and they don't want to listen, and they just want to be right. So they've taken principles of this is me, this is what I think, and I'm not going to look elsewhere. And then if somebody comes and puts a better argument forward, or just a conversation point forward, they just don't want to listen. They just want to sort of tune out and go, oh, you're a lefty, or put you in a box, or label you. And it's like, let's just have conversations, guys, because the world isn't perfect. I'm not really striving for perfection, but can we go for better at least? Let's just go for better.
Let's just go for better, exactly. It's like with fast fashion, if we look at sort of charity shops, you can pick up bargains.
Yeah.
If you know how to thrift, you're gonna find some.
Learning later.
You're gonna be fine. I feel like you should go in a charity shop. Can we? Let's do it.
Ripley's good, man. Mate, I really say it's good, but actually with you, you'll be like, no, this is shit. I'm taking you somewhere proper.
I went to Cornwall in August. Okay. That was
all over the place.
Yeah,
really.
More pricey though.
I was gonna say
high-end charity shops.
You go to like, especially London, and you're just paying like normal prices now. Like I went and this pair of shoes, I was so excited. I think they were like, I don't know, Nikes or something.
There's things that I make exceptions for, and I have to make exceptions for. Like I have a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Footwear is one of them. Underwear is one of them. Uniform. I have to make exceptions with Tay with uniforms. And then me and Tay get into this. She's very much at that age where she wants to go and eat McDonald's and shop in Primark with her mates. And I have to remember what I was like at that age. And, I have to... We have honest conversations about it where she's like, I really want this top one, but it's in Primark. And I'm like, oh, for goodness sake. And we have to sit down and, we talk about it. And I watch documentaries with her so she can make... My only hope as a parent in terms of my own journey with sustainability and food and environment is that my daughter goes out into the world with informed information to make conscious decisions, and that is all. Like, I don't own her, and I just hope that you make the right choice.
And a good person. It's amazing, and you're not forcing it down anyone's throat, and you're not telling everybody how to live. But here's what I think, and it's like that. Be the change you want to see. If you're living it out and you're just promoting it, and you're not preaching it, it's so much more like endearing to come towards. I listen to it now, and I'm like, that seems a nice way to be. Like, you seem a happy-go-lucky person. I emanate towards that. It makes me feel comfortable, and I like people with that attitude of let's just talk, let's not tell, let's talk. I'm having a daughter soon. I'm very excited.
I know.
And I'm having all these conversations.
I couldn't remember on the bus. I was like, do you know what you're having?
Yeah,
or is it a surprise you're having a little girl?
Yeah,
Ella.
but I've had all these conversations rolling in my head, like how I want her to come into this world, and I've just, like what you just said then, really perfectly fit what I feel. And it's just giving her all the information and letting her make her own mind up towards it, and not saying you've got to live like this, we don't do that in this household, we're not this. I mean, there's obviously elements of that,
yeah, of course,
but mainly just letting her be her own person, and for everybody to try and do that.
Yeah.
But give them what you feel.
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
If it resonates with them, let everyone. I just really like what you're about in that realm.
Don't be a dick.
I know I've got lives to live as well, but would you do a part 2? Because I want to go down parenting with you.
Can we? I'd love
I want to go more down this
absolutely.
route with you. Oh, you've got so many little plates to spin, and I'm like, do we go here? We went everywhere, and I love it.
I love it.
Oh, mate, where can people find what you do? Because I would say definitely go and check it out, because that photography shoot you did with your friends.
Yeah, and that's
awesome.
another thing as well. Like with fashion,
you've got everything.
I used to be so caught up on when I first started out, is making sure models were proper models, but now it's so unhealthy and so unrealistic.
Yeah.
To especially I predominantly do women's wear, and I want every woman to feel great. And I love working with my friends.
Yeah.
That photo shoot was just it looked
so much
the photo
fun.
shoot was meant to happen in May.
Okay.
And then obviously lockdown, so everything had to be postponed, and it was I think it was, when did we do it? We ended up doing it in July. June came around and I was like, right, maybe I can start planning when it can be. Then July came around and I was like, nah, still a bit early. And then I think it was at the beginning of August we did it, and it was great because none of us had seen each other properly in that space, and it was around Boris, and you can mingle a bit now, guys, you're allowed to go to other people's houses, and Karina, bless her, we did it at Karina's house, and I was so grateful for her. She's got this beautiful big kitchen,
nice,
and I was like, can Chevy set up the backdrop in your kitchen? So we ended up doing it at Karina, gorgeous day, and it was just such an amazing photo shoot. We had so much fun, and that's what I want it to be about. Just fun.
It comes across as well.
Fun with my mates.
The energy of it all looks bright and bubbly, and I just want a piece of it.
You can have a piece of it if you want, Marky.
Yeah, baby. Guys, thank you for joining in. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Go and find you at Bambis Den.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram under Bambis Den.
You're coming back, aren't you?
I'm 100%
I feel like we're doing a goodbye here, and I'm like, no.
I'll pick promise you if you want.
You've seen it, guys. It's all on camera. Cameras mean everything. We've caught you.
Website is bambisden.co.uk. I have got Bambis Den on Facebook. Not gonna lie, I'm not the greatest Facebook fan. I keep it open, and I like
I just have
it.
social presence now, but I just leave it and
it's kind of it's there, but it's not.
Oh, we could have really got into that.
Oh God, we can't. Literally, we've not even touched upon social
Honestly,
media really, and how we're. Because you need to watch The Social Dilemma.
I'll watch that, and then you're going to come and do a workshop as well.
We're going to do workshops.
That sounds great. Because
I'll just bring my tent, mate.
Honestly, you're just somebody I
in the morning.
Really just go down every avenue of life with, and you just seem so open to it all as well. There's nothing to shut off from. So guys, you've been a part of the Old Farm Bus, back of the bus sessions. I really enjoy these. I'm learning all the time. I've got a lot to go away with now, and think I'm gonna go and start snipping around my whole wardrobe. I'm
gonna get loads of pictures. What do you think I can do with this?
That's gonna be a pair of shorts. But Mikey, that's your t-shirt, your best one. Yeah, but I can put them on here now.
You can put them on. You can make some cycling shorts out of it, a bit of stretch jersey.
Guys, peace and love to you all.
Thank you for having me.
Positive.
It's been amazing.
Keep smiling. Big love.